All right, so first things first, I'm going to have all these wonderful editors introduce themselves, introduce their name, introduce how long they've been an editor with Webtoon, and also how many series they're currently working on right now. So maybe we can start with Sonia.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Sonia. I'm an associate editor. I've been with Webtoon for about a year now. I'm coming up to the year mark, which is really exciting. And currently I'm on 17 active series with a couple more in the cooker, who knows? And I'll pass it off to Bree.
Hi everyone, my name is Bree. I have been an editor at Webtoon for about 3 years now, maybe a little over 3 years. And I'm working on around 30 series. Some are live, some are in development. But yeah, I'll pass it on to Tyler.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I am one of the editors. I started in March, and I'm a little short of 20 series right now, but I'm really excited to be here and working with you all.
I'm HB. My pronouns are they, them. I have been here for about 3 years now, exactly the same amount of time as Bree. And I am working on upwards of 18 series now.
Wow, so everyone's super busy. So they're all very experienced, so they'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have. So previously, we actually reached out on social media to gather some questions. So we're going to be starting off with a few of those. So the first question we have is, what is the most challenging and your favorite part about being an editor?
I think we should go one-on-one. So Sonia, do you want to start?
I can kick it off. I think something that I find challenging as part of the process is just figuring out where a story is going to go start to finish. With the creators I work with, I really think it helps to have a plan and know where a series is headed, just so we can orchestrate different seasons and different episodes toward that goal. But it can be difficult to get all of those ideas on paper. Finally getting that done, I think, is really rewarding, but it does take time. And I think my favorite part personally about being an editor is getting to be on the journey with creators, see them grow, be part of the process, and just see how much they take on in the series, what they learn, and just the ideas they come up with. A lot of creators I work with really surprise me in how amazing and creative they can be, making ideas that I would never think of. I'll pass it off to Bree next.
That was so wholesome. I would say one of the most difficult things about my job is all the project managing and trying to get every creator on a realistic deadline for completing episodes, having scripts done, having their thumbnails done, when the episode should be finished. Each creator works differently. Sometimes a creator works 2 days on thumbnails, sometimes they take 1 day, sometimes they take 3 days. And it's just, trying to find that balance so that they can, live a healthy work-life balance as much as possible. I would say the best part, or one of the more fun parts about being an editor, is seeing the completed product and seeing them actually post it to Webtoon, and then them getting excited, them communicating with their fans, them launching. That launch day is probably the most fun day because they're celebrating, they're really antsy, all their hard work is finally paying off. So that's one of the best parts. I'll pass it to Tyler.
All right. Hey, favorite thing. I really love some of the initial calls we do with creators where they get on and they're just like, I'm so excited. Let me tell you my big idea. The season 6 spoiler is, and then it's just like, that's really fun. So I love that. Challenging thing is probably going to be just some of those first meetings, actually, where you are trying to take that incredible idea and trying to distill it into the most maximized, excellent, amazing, fun version, because it just can be a lot to pack into a few panels. So we get into really deep meetings talking about how to make it work best and how to bring out the best product for the readers that they're going to love. So I'll pass on to HB.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think that the hardest part for me is sort of balancing everyone's interest in a project, which can mean a lot of like project management, but also like thinking about where the story is going to go to best suit both the creator's interests and set it up for success as well as we can on the platform, which I think is also a really fun part of the process because I love working on stories with creators, but it can be like one of the more intensive parts. So that like getting started portion is both difficult and really rewarding. And then I think one of my favorite parts of the process is sort of being able to look back on the change that's happened and the amount of growth that people like show and go through in the time that they sort of come from just starting out to like having gone through a full development process. And I find that to be incredibly rewarding both for me and for like my creator teams.
Something else that people were curious about was, what do you guys look for when you're editing comics, or even when you're reading a Canvas series? Like, what are you looking for there?
Well, I can start. So there's differences between looking at a Canvas series and then looking at a series we've already picked up. So I can start off with Canvas series. I think one of the things we really look for is the intrigue. Like, what's the potential here? What is your hook? Do I like your main character? Is their goals clear? How did you set up the story? Is it convoluted, or does it, grasp my attention? I think that's the thing that we really look for, because we don't have time to read the entire series when we're looking at Canvas series. We like to look at the first couple and make sure that they're, grasping our attention, and like, does this have the appeal that we're looking for? So that's where we look at Canvas series. If someone else wants to take over the second half of the question about what we look for when we're editing series, somebody else can take that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the huge things is sort of like emotional tone and connection point, which can a lot of the time come from the characters, but it's also a big part of how you structure visuals and where you put payoff in the story. So that's something that I both look for on Canvas and when editing originals. So with originals, it's sort of once we've taken it from Canvas because we see that potential, it's identifying where the creator's like interest is in terms of like what they want from emotional tone and character development, and where that connection point is going to be with the readers most likely. So that's something that I sort of look for, is like, where do I think that like big payoff moment's going to be?
Everyone's had such great answers. I'm trying to think of anything that I can add. I know things that I'm really excited about when I see in a Canvas series is something unique, and that unique aspect can be maybe it's a really intriguing world I haven't seen, or a take on a story I haven't seen, or even just a really honest voice in a writer. I think touching on what everyone said about having an intrigue and a really quick connection with a character, even if a character isn't fully likable, just understanding where they're going and being part of this journey, what their motivations are, and seeing where that growth is going to come, seeing the potential in that series is really important. And I know when I'm looking at originals, I would definitely echo HB's point about where can we put payoff, where are the really exciting moments of the series, how can I assist a creator to tell their story in the best way possible and in a way that the readers are just going to love it.
I cannot improve on what other people said, so good.
Awesome. So how involved would you say editors typically are in the creation of these original stories?
I can go first. It really depends based on the creator. Sometimes an editor's job is to take a look at what the creator's strengths are and what are their weaknesses, and assist them in any way that we can. So say a creator is a little bit weaker on the writing part. That's where we can step in and try to offer as much advice as we can. Say a creator is really, really slow on production of the episode, we can give them tips and tricks on how to save time, offer just any insight we can. We help with the formatting sometimes if things are unclear. We help with the visuals if they need it. But some creators are like very good with their visuals and they don't really need a lot of assistance. So, looking at thumbnails is easy peasy. So it really does depend. I don't know if anyone has anything to add onto that.
It vastly depends on the series. There's some where I would say that I am very involved, at like every stage of the process, and there's some where my job is basically to like give pep talks and say you did great. Both of those I think are like equally good ways to do editing and also like be a part of the process. Not everyone needs constant input or wants it, and not everyone wants to sort of operate autonomously. So it's a negotiation between sort of identifying what we as editors think someone might need in terms of support and also what they want in terms of support.
When it comes to editing both story and art, would you say that you like have as much as a say in both sides of it, or are you more involved with the story aspect?
Yeah, I mean, every episode does have to get approved by an editor. We can't just let the creator like start off with like no guidance. I mean, usually once they get the hang of it, we don't have to be holding their hand anymore or even approving of the episodes before they go up. But it's definitely a collaborative effort. I like to think every time I onboard a new creator, I'm like, I'm part of your team now. Like, I'm here to help you. I'm here to assist you make your story as good as it can be. Whatever you need help with, like, just let me know. And I think having this like same level, like we're working together, I'm here for you kind of thing does give them a bit of ease instead of me taking charge and saying, I'm your point of contact for Webtoon, do as I say. I don't think that's always the right way to go. So, just making sure that the creators feel comfortable to work with me as well.
Second that, the idea of it being a collaborative effort. Some creators come in with lots of tools in their toolbox for visuals and story. Other creators are really open and excited about learning new tools. And I think I, as an editor, really want to be supportive, give creators the tools they need to succeed, be it, talking story, throwing ideas back and forth, being a second pair of eyes, suggesting ways for a creator to really play to their strengths and have fun with a series. I definitely see it as input where input is needed and wanted. As I said, sometimes a creator will want a lot of help with the story, sometimes a creator will want a lot of help with visuals, but it's a give and take, and it's definitely about support.
Yeah, I think a few people are pretty curious about your thoughts on reworking first episodes, especially if their quality of art has really improved over the years. I know Tyler kind of replied back to someone, but I don't know if you want to speak more to it here.
Oh, I mean, since I left a small comment, the basic idea is we're aware that art changes and writing changes. So we're not going to be surprised if there's a difference between your first and your most recent, your 300th episode. That's totally fine. So I think I would say that do what you think is rewarding for your art and for your readers. You might attract more people if you have a relaunch or something. But largely, I think the readers and editors all understand that reality and are really happy to see glow ups. So,
main thing is being aware that it might need reworking, not necessarily having to go back and do it. If it makes you feel better and more solid about your project to do it, that can, I think, feel rewarding as well. But when we're looking at things, we look at the early episodes, but we also look at the most recent episodes to see where change has happened. And sometimes that amount of improvement is also important information for the process.
Yeah, so all of you manage a lot of series. So I was curious about how you are able to manage all those series. How do you do it?
I can start. I have 30 series. And that's saying that I have 30 series that I am the point of contact for, not necessarily saying that I'm actually full volume working on these series. I think the point of an editor is to help give the creators tools to become self-sustainable. So for instance, I've worked on a series called Muted. I don't know if any of you know it. The creator has been posting Muted since I think its launch in 2019. So I have not touched a thumbnail in about a year and a half. And that's good because the creator is now very self-aware of like what they need to do. They'd only come to me if they have like a question or they're stuck, like what should I do for this ending? But they are very self-efficient and they get their episodes done on time. They've gotten their production pipeline down packed. And that's where I want like all of my creators to eventually end up, is that they can start working on their own and only come to me if they need it. But then there are series that are in development and we're still working on, pre-production. And then the first couple episodes, those are a bit more like heavy loads that I'd have to worry about. But for that, you just have to prioritize like what deadlines are coming up, what needs your attention now, what can wait till later. It's about just time management.
Sure, time management is very key to all of this. A lot of people are also curious about the journey of going from canvas to originals. And so a few questions regarding this are, how many are selected? A year, a month? If someone turns down a canvas series, it's possible that another editor might be really intrigued by it and be interested in pick it up afterwards. And also, are there any opportunities for canvas creators to pitch their series, or do you usually just kind of read through canvas and source them on your own? So those are a lot of questions, but everyone's going to tackle one.
So the editors are usually reading through Canvas. We look for series not just by our own personal liking. So I hope that's not a thing that you guys are worried about, like, oh, if the editors don't like it personally, will we not be originals? It's definitely not the case. We look for series that could fill our content matrix on a regular basis. Like, we have a lack of this, we'd like to expand this genre, or we see that this has an interesting hook that we've never seen before, so we'd like to, carry this over to originals. But we're always looking, and we tend to have internal meetings where we talk about Canvas series. There's not a set number that we greenlight a year or a month, and bandwidth also does take part of, how many series we can pick up. But there is no personal biases whenever we look at series, for sure.
Sort of second that capacity can play a large role in variability of how much gets picked up in a given amount of time. There's a lot of factors that go into selection. And in terms of pitches, right now, it's mostly just sourcing from Canvas. We do occasionally accept pitches, but if you haven't been contacted directly for that, we prefer to look through Canvas and find series based on performance and what we need in our content matrix at the moment.
Yeah, to second that, I think that one of the best portfolios you can give us is a series on Canvas. Like, sometimes if we would reach out, we need more intel, we'll do that. But putting your series out there so that we can see what you're capable of is the best way to get our attention.
So it seems like putting your series out there is like the main way to really get noticed by an editor.
Yeah.
Sure. Another question that people had was about your specializations. Like, do each of you specialize in a different genre? And, if not, do you have a favorite genre that you particularly like to edit for?
At least to an extent. So I think all of us work on sort of a variety of things, but you tend to build expertise in an area. So, for example, I work on more horror thriller content and like science fiction comedy than I do romance. Whereas Bree is sort of a romance savant, but that's not a genre that I feel that I personally have great expertise in. Whereas I feel like I can support a creator working in horror or like mystery thriller a lot better. It's overlapping skill sets per genre, but it's kind of a different focus and expertise.
Two that I really enjoy editing are romance and action. And I know you're thinking they're so different. How could you do both? But I think things that I really enjoy about those two genres are just the intensity. You can have really intense emotional drama, and you can also have really intense fight scenes. And so I really enjoy having that payoff and having that buildup of like a great sequence, be it a romantic sequence or a fight scene.
Yeah, we end up in all the genres. I mean, as soon as you try and say, like, I am exclusively this, a series ends up being 3 things or 4 things. And it just, you got to be reading broadly and you got to be comfortable in different genres. And also, when you need a hand, you go talk to someone else who's got a lot of expertise in that, which I think will one day happen in an office, but right now means a lot of messaging online and asking for help.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're definitely like, Sonia, what do you think of this?
Feedback.
Yes.
I think another thing I like about editing cross genre is pulling different things and different tips and tricks that work in one genre and seeing how I can apply them to something different. Maybe take that slow burn from a drama and see if I can add it into a mystery or a thriller. It's always fun to cross-reference.
Yeah, I guess jumping off of putting horror thriller framing in like a romance scene, it's very fun. And I think the payoff for that can be high. So like sort of mixing genre techniques, particularly visual genre techniques, can really add like a layer of depth and payoff to a scene.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning so much about the editors and your experiences. So this is really great. The last question we want to ask is, what is your final piece of advice for a Canvas creator who's interested in becoming a Webtoon original?
Well, I can start. Make sure that you're obviously posting to Canvas. That's the biggest thing. And also make sure that you really have honed your story, making sure that you're executing it in the best way you can. Also making sure that you are setting realistic deadlines for yourself. I know not everyone can post weekly, but letting your readers know, hey, I post on the 8th of every month, just so they have a way to look forward to your updates. And making sure that each update is still rewarding for readers so that they want to come back each time. And honestly, just making sure that you are posting as regularly as possible, whether that's once a month or, every other week or once a week, because then editors could see that pattern and then we can, possibly, catch up on your series as well.
Definitely say consistency, being consistent in uploading, but I would also say always learning and growing, trying different things and experimenting. And I like to believe that a story told is always better than a perfect story. So let yourself grow, let yourself learn by doing, and enjoy giving out the story. Don't get too caught up in the details.
Yeah, super short. Sorry, HB. Just a cool new opportunity. I think that's growing more and more relevant is the Canvas community. Connect with people, read each other's stuff, do scripts, exchanges, talk thumbs. This is like kind of a new wave or new era. So if you're working with your colleagues, your peers, whatever, you're just going to make each other better. So keep doing that. And I think it's going to work out great for everyone.
So coming from a bit of a creator background, like have fun with it, and also make sure that you take on at least some projects that you can finish, because there's a lot of value in being able to see a project through from start to finish and all the things that you learn through that process. Making sure that you have at least some projects that are like smaller scale and fun to do, because you can really hone a skill through the process of like a shorter project that you can then apply in a larger project that you feel like very strongly about.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. You guys are so great. I feel like you guys are all bombarded with questions, but you answered it like a pro, like the pros you are. So thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed the HB's laugh at the end. But I hope you enjoy the rest of this Canvas Summit, and so as much as the rest of our attendees. And yeah, have a good one, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.